Welcome to our deep dive into the life of Hastings Kamuzu Banda, Malawi's first president and one of Africa's most complex leaders. Banda's life is a tale of ambition, leadership, and contradictions, from his fight for Malawi's independence to his controversial decades-long rule. Banda was born on February 15, 1898, in a small village in Malawi's Kasungu district, at that time part of British-controlled Nyasaland. Raised in a traditional rural setting, Banda's early life was filled with hard work and limited access to formal education. But even from a young age, he showed a remarkable drive to learn, an ambition that would take him on a remarkable journey across the globe. Banda's thirst for knowledge eventually led him to South Africa and, later, to the United States, where he attended medical school. He went on to further his studies in the UK, becoming a physician, a rare accomplishment for an African in those days. But the time he spent abroad didn't just shape him as a doctor, it fueled a passion for African independence. In the 1950s, Banda returned to Nyasaland with a vision. At this time, nationalist movements were gaining ground across Africa, and Banda became a powerful voice in Nyasaland's push for independence. Leading the newly formed Malawi Congress Party, Banda mobilized mass protests and resistance, pressing the British authorities to let Nyasaland stand on its own. After years of activism, Nyasaland finally gained independence in 1964, reborn as Malawi, with Banda as its first prime minister. 2 years later, in 1966, Malawi declared itself a republic, and Banda was elected president. However, his rule would soon take an authoritarian turn. Initially, Banda focused on Malawi's development, investing in education, healthcare, and agriculture. His policies aimed at creating economic self-sufficiency, with a focus on crops like tobacco and tea that would become the backbone of Malawi's economy. But as his rule settled, Banda's leadership style became increasingly authoritarian. In 1971, he declared himself president for life, and the Malawi Congress Party became the country's only legal political party. Banda ruled with an iron fist, silencing dissent and restricting freedoms. Banda also enforced strict social codes. He promoted traditional values, mandating conservative dress codes, and discouraged behaviors he deemed morally corrupt. This era became known for its lack of political freedoms, a stark contrast to the independence Banda had once fought for. While many African nations distanced themselves from apartheid South Africa, Banda maintained diplomatic and economic ties with the South African government, as well as with Britain and other Western nations. These alliances brought economic support to Malawi, but sparked controversy both at home and across the African continent. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, Banda's popularity was faltering. International and domestic pressure for democratic reforms grew. In 1993, Malawians voted in a national referendum to end the one-party state, opening the path for a new era of governance. A year later, in Malawi's first multi-party election, Banda lost to Bakili Mulutsi, marking the end of his presidency and his 30-year rule. Hastings Kamuzu Banda's legacy is complex. He is remembered as the liberator who fought for Malawi's independence, yet his presidency is also marked by a prolonged period of authoritarian rule. His contributions to education, healthcare, and the economy left a lasting impact, but his policies on freedom and democracy have been widely debated. Banda's life embodies both the promise and the perils of African leadership in the post-colonial era. Banda's legacy reminds us of the balance that new nations must find between independence and democracy, between progress and freedom. His story continues to influence Malawi today and remains a powerful lesson in the complexities of leadership.
If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. And as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.